coordinator for presentation. So I have, that's some capstone for that one. Those are in-service teachers. I get to go out and watch them present their projects in their classrooms. Very exciting. And then I have a doctoral level course on the curriculum. That's really my specialty. It's fun.
How did you doctoral class?
The last time it was 11. I think it's 8 this time. It's out at Cinco Ranch, which is in Katy, so it's like an hour and a half. But to grow the program, they offer in Cinco Ranch to homeless Katy people who not come to UH, take it out. We take it to them. And we're starting one in Fort Bend. Also like an hour short. I'm going to stick with the Cinco Ranch. Cinco Ranch, I can hit that beltway and get I live in that city actually, which is 20 miles south of downtown Houston. It's really only about 5 miles out of Houston, outer edge. I'm 20 miles from the theater district and I'm 20 miles from Galveston. Perfect location.
My sister lives in Kingwood.
Okay, she lives north. I'm south. My son lives in Cypress, which is kind of up by Kingwood.
Is it?
Well, Kingwood is here right on 45, and Cypress is, you go up 40, Cypress is over here, because you go up 45 and take 290 west, so it's over here.
So how long does it take you from San Antonio to Cypress? The reason we're saying is that we're going to be in Cypress next week. Michelle's going to some conference.
Are you? San Antonio to Cypress, I never go that direction, because it's Cypress is off 290. So you would come in at 10 and take either the Beltway or 610 Interloop to get there. Take the Beltway. You have to stop every 2 or 3 miles and throw some quarters in. It's still faster. I don't know, that's a good question. Maybe we can look it up on the map list. It takes me an hour to get to my son's house from where I live. Because he's outside of the Beltway. In his own little, he calls it my little bubble, his little community that he loves.
So is promoting tenure track to
Because they won't be able to get rid of you if money is going away. We lost 3% of our budget this year, 3% the year before, 3% the year. We've not gotten any raises. The president has, the provost has, but we've not. And next fall is when our first group of freshmen come in. We've been just junior, seniors, but now with downward expansion, we have freshmen and sophomore coming in the fall. So they had to hire faculty to teach them lower level courses. So money's tight. And parking is going to be such an issue. There are times right now, if I don't get on campus before 8 o'clock, like if I go out and visit some of my teachers and come back, I get on parking. And we pay for parking. If I can't find parking, that's an issue. But when all these other faculty are there, it's going to be a bigger issue.
that's bad faculty can't find parking.
Exactly. I mean, one time I had to park at the very end of the parking lot, and it was like a mile to the building I had to get to. Seriously.
Who's the president?
Why did you ask me that? I know his name. Don't see him very often. The provost is Carl Stockton, and he actually runs the place because he has the money. He's the money guy. So Carl Stockton is the provost. The president is. Come to me later. And I get a new dean. The dean of the School of Ed retired. So we have a new dean that I've not even met. So
She coming
no, we didn't even know. He's never talked about the school. I'm like, you hired a dean for the School of Ed and you never taught public school in Texas. What are you thinking here? So I don't know how he's going to be. Hopefully he'll be a quick study. So new dean.
He must bring something in that they were interested in.
His friends from Paris. Yeah. Always politics. But surely he'll do, Surely he'll be good. Faculty Senate was very upset because that was not their first choice. Tell him hello.
He really, I don't know whether you one day had to sign in and he missed the opportunity as this would you here. He's always anytime that we send him something, he's really committed.
Yeah, he does.
You'll probably see him. He's going to the and he's now looking for position in the district. He's won a couple of interviews. You get nervous, you talk. And your accent comes out. Take your time. And he really I have seen that man. He gets kids in for treatment on the weekend. Gets a tutor.
Wow.
He'll get him to do treatment before school. He doesn't do anything. In the charter schools in Texas, so he's very, very tight with his we're thinking you know what's taking him is your own time.
Yeah, I've come for that.
And he'll come. He's very strong. He's capable of doing it. I need your support. I need your support. The kids don't like it at the beginning, but they got him a gift. You passed. You passed.
So I need to do
Oh gosh, I have chills.
and then I'm done with that part.
You need to share this with this guy. I have chills. Just tell him not to go in and get some lunch. He's there for the interview, okay? I always enjoyed that.
Yeah, look, do you know
I know.
that's it.
I like to just see him for an interview. I'll have to get somebody on the cheese. He's going to get him from the
Come on. So
Tell him I'm so really nice.
Today, tomorrow, on Friday. So she won't be back till
Donna's skipping out on us.
What's the luster for mustard?
This is a pretty good group.
And it's non, right? Is it non-metallic?
I was shopping at Sister Dr. Lee. Cell phone on that office regarding to the
I didn't pick it up. She hands it to me. She says, you call it, you call it, you call it. And I'm like, I'm driving, you call it.
Oh, it was that real thin piece, right? Yeah.
But it was the clear one, that's good. I think that's the lady across from Temple. She's really struggling with that. She told me this morning, she's struggling with the math.
And what was the hardness?
I have a group finished, so I need you to move it along. How many of you have less than 3 questions left? Less than 3. Nobody? All right, pick up the pace.
Micah?
Okay, so you guys are still.
She used to teach here and she taught geology. She's retired now. She's adjunct. So I think she's teaching a course this semester. He also is a geologist and retired. And then you go in the course and she's got all these scientific things from blankets to pyramid and dinosaur tracks and wasp nest and she's got a little science building right in her house. They live way out in the country over by Wembley somewhere over there, Fredericksburg somewhere. Russell is better. He's better. You know, he had cancer. And he's been through radiation and chemo. And I think he's almost ready to come home.
The hard part for me is sitting down.
Now you know how the kids feel. That's why in meetings I would have to go stand up in the back of the room. It hurts my back.
No, one of the things they had in like our in the class we have right now for the master's thing is like teaching with the brain in mind, and so they're like you need to take like breaks so the kids can move. So I'm just gonna everything we do the warm up after we do the warm up. I'm just gonna get the kids up and stretch just because I will probably want to stretch too. That's one of the reasons I walk around so much is because I hate sitting down unless I'm like actively like doing something like a lot, like playing a game or something like that. I hate sitting down. Can't stand it.
You can stand. Yeah, because you're right here against the wall. It does not bother either one
I'm
of
just gonna
us.
go out in the hallway and stretch for a minute because I have like no room to move.
Run around the...
That's what I was doing when you guys were talking. I was like sitting back there like this, like stretching my back.
Yeah. Walk around the little loop that this makes. You'll feel... I always do that. You'll feel better.
That's why every time it's like a break, I like go outside and I just like run up and down the stairs.
Yeah, that works too. I like to go outside. It helps me sometimes.
We don't have enough stairs at school.
Huh?
We don't have enough stairs. The one day when we were doing the M-Star, when I was up in the computer lab, I was like, all right. I loved that.
He is young. He is smiling. He is
That's how I try to figure stuff out.
And so they're in principal. Well, I called Principal Barnes and I called Principal Reezy. So during the course of this year, she's going to talk about what's on my math that I was asking her to come and one or two of these that she can, until you know what it is, which one she has her yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's
Intrusive would be macro stuff. Intrusive would
So cool. cooler, but.
Very interesting information. She talked to and she was who everybody calls. I'll call it God with all our problems. Because that's how I did paycheck. I just wanted to cut top and but he wasn't surprised that I required
I am sorry to have to stop you, but if you notice, there's what's next and there's what's next. So here we go. Pick 3 questions. Don't waste a question. Any that are just really challenging. Does anybody have a question that you'd like us to discuss? We'll do a maximum of 3. Let's see. Which one, dear?
Okay, the number 6, after observing the crystals in granite, what would you conclude about its cooling rate? In the notes it says that various rates due to movement, but then the Bowen's reaction also says that different types cool at different rates. So is it a combination of those 2 factors? How do you know?
Okay, I was asking you about the rock, which is a mixture of minerals that have cooled according to Bowen's reaction series. First, do they all crystallize at the same temperature so they can be mixed together? They do not. They cool at different temperatures. They crystallize and they settle out of the melt. That means that the remaining melt is changing chemical composition as something is removed and settles, right? At least the percentages of the minerals that are left to crystallize is changing. And so that question is asking you about granite. So I can look across this room and look at any of those samples of granite. And can I see different crystals? Are they visible to me? Easily visible to me? Did those cool fast on the surface from lava or slow under the surface from magma? Are they extrusively formed or are they intrusively formed? That's what that question's asking you. Not the individual minerals on Bowen's reaction, but that rock, mixture of those minerals. Somebody tell us what you think. Lava formed or magma formed? Definitely magma formed.
Wow.
Because
Visible, easily visible crystals. You did not need a magnifying glass. You do not need to look closely at all to see that that's a mixture of minerals. The crystals are big enough that you can identify at least 3 colors in those bark tubes. All right, next question? No? All right, wait a minute. Everybody listening? Come in.
Patty said, magma forms so intrusive. I heard a few so people had put extrusive. We were discussing, which one is it, and we compared it to our melts from yesterday. The cold, the room, and the hot. Right. And if you look at the crystals, the one that cooled very quickly, there were a lot of crystals, but they were really tiny. The room temperature, they were a little larger, a little bit more flattened out. And the hot one should have been, maybe not all of us got it, but they should have been larger, bigger, more 3-dimensional type shapes. So that we can see that hot cools a lot slower, which allows for the spacing to kind of
The
take up
crystals
more
to take
space.
up more space or try to get to their hexagonal shape,
As close to it as I
or whatever their shape.
whatever their shape. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking because they were so small, that they cooled on top, I guess it would have to be microscopically small.
That is exactly right. When we look at the different examples of igneous rocks, you will see a obvious differences, okay? So because you can see them, it's relative. They're large.
Right. And I was like, oh, there'll be bigger ones versus those are small. No, they're
And
not.
those, there's some different sizes over there, so there's different rates of cooling represented right there, yes.
And just remember for us, because small, medium, and large are very subjective, where it's based on who it is, that's an explanatory moment as well. Because for one group, what is small, medium, and large, for the next one, maybe they're comparing it to that group, and they're not seeing it because that's not how they see small, medium, and large.
Because what happened to us yesterday is our hot one did not form larger crystals that we thought it should have. But our group next door had a perfect example of what we predicted should happen. Very large crystals.
I mean,
And
they
we're
were
gonna look at them
larger,
in a minute,
but-
so
so sorry.
perfect though that you related to that experience. Great. Okay, is there a second question? No other? Number 9, yes, I said we could do 3. Did all the minerals in granite form at the same time? Mr. Bowen is a geologist, this is lab work. It appears that if igneous rocks can form from lava or magma, we might expect that there's how many kinds of different rocks? 2. But through Mr. Bowen's experience as a geologist, there are many more than 2 kinds of igneous rocks. So he needed an explanation for how that could be true. And so in a laboratory with a chemical melt of materials from the crust, in other words, silicates, they were melted and he cooled them. And this is extreme temperatures. And as it started to cool, the very first thing that cooled and settled out of the melt was olivine, the SiO4, single tetrahedrons. And if I showed you olivine, it's not in your box because we do not find it here. It looks grainy. It looks almost like sand grains, but you're seeing those little individual silicon oxygen tetrahedrons. The next thing that cools as the melt is cooling, the next thing to crystallize and settle out of that melt is augite. And then comes hornblende. These are both dark minerals, right? Olivine is dark. It's a dark, blackish, green, yellowish, greenish yellow. And then comes biotite, which is a dark mineral. And here's all your light minerals. That pink feldspar, some of the white over there, muscovite mica, which was the clear, and there's quartz. Now this is what you're going to find. Primarily at Llano, at that batholith, you're going to find those granites, which is mostly the light-colored minerals. Pink is considered light. Pink and white quartz make up most of all of those granites, with the exception of lanite.
Would we put magnetite between the hornblende and the...
Magnetite is not a silicate, and all Mr. Bowen worked on were the silicate minerals. Okay? You will find magnetite. We find a lot of magnetite in Llano. And so you will find it, and it's there, but it is not a silicate mineral. So that's why it's not on there. All right? That's a good point. And any other question then? So did we answer the question for you? Did the minerals form at the same time?
No.
And so who forms first? Thinking about your granite, the augite and the hornblende, the dark minerals, okay? And then the light minerals are the last to form. All right, is that, everybody satisfied with Mendelson and Granite? Okay, and, they've been in here now an hour and a half. Can you go to finishing up your, Say-Law lab and then for a break? Okay, get your Say-Law lab paper. Yes, it's in your binder, it's like this, and it's page number 37.
I don't know what the principal's supposed to do.
Okay, wait a minute, I need to get some instructions so you can finish. Shouldn't take you very long. You are supposed to graph. So you have a piece of graph paper. Thinking about yesterday's crystal lab, independent variable. I like to call it the manipulative variable. What did we intentionally manipulate yesterday? Temperature of a dish, but we were doing that in order to manipulate what? The time it took to cool. We were manipulating the temperatures, knowing that when we gave you an ice-cold dish and poured a hot melt in it, that the transfer of heat energy was going to happen, how? Quickly. A faster rate. So we knew that was going to happen, but you were timing it, right? So you have a database that says time to cool for each of the 3 dishes, right? We determined that time. We couldn't say, okay, Crystal, form in 2 minutes. But we could say, okay, we're going to give you an ice-cold dish, and it's going to cause that crystal to happen in a short amount of time. So that is your independent variable. That's your manipulative variable. Yes,
So we go back to what you called it,
manipulative.
the manipulated variable.
Yes.
Okay, so as science teachers, you need to make your math students aware that in science it's going to be called that, and the math.
And I don't know that all science teachers do. I've
No,
always, and our
No,
teachers
it's
used
the
to say.
manipulated variable, it's not manipulative variable.
Okay,
Yeah,
manipulated
yeah, the difference between
variable.
it being an adjective versus a noun. Manipulative is a noun, manipulated is a verb.
Okay, well, whatever the ELA part of that is, the math teachers need to make sure that their students know in science it may be called this, and the science teachers need to make sure that in mathematics it may be called independent or dependent, because we've got to have that cross of the 2 disciplines so that kids don't get confused thinking it's one thing in math, something totally different in science, when really they're basically the same. Okay? Yes,
Our teachers used to call it that for elementary students, somewhere down the line, long ago. And that's the way I taught young children.
Good question, I'll check and see what the.
Okay. And those words, manipulated and responding variables, just are more descriptive to me for young children. Easy to get confused on independent and dependent.
so the responding variable then is the dependent.
Dependent, that's right.
And the manipulated variable is the independent. Please write that down in your notes, especially math.
And where are you going to graph that independent or manipulated variable?
On the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Spread your data out so that you're using at least most of your graph paper. And I want a small bar graph for the individual size, and then you're going to superimpose your average line over those bars, okay? Sean was first. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say something about if you make sure they understand the difference between independent and dependent in both math and science and help them get the probability.
Everybody heard that?
Great point, Sean.
Perfect.
Say it again, they didn't all hear.
If you make sure they understand the difference between independent and dependent in both math and science, when you get to probability, which they start in 6th grade, and I think they do independent and dependent in 7th grade, unless they moved it down, they'll understand that a lot better because they'll know that one thing has to change for the other one to happen. So.
Great point.
And question here? That's right.
And then you want us to
You're going to take the mathematical average of your 3 chosen at random. That's right. And those of you who think you didn't get the wrong data, we're gonna discuss that. You graph what your data says, okay?
Don't tell me you gave away what your findings. Y'all are killing it.
We have 20 minutes to finish on this lab and use the restroom. So we're gonna start back up at 10:25.
Do you remember the size? Mr. Member? I know the boiling hot one is the largest one.
Is this y'all's handwriting?
Yes.
The first one was like 7 and 6. The first one was 6. The middle one had
Well, guess what? We can do them again, right? Because we have them. If I can see I'm horrible at seeing, so. Okay, yeah. Yeah, what did you find? You know what? Actually, Sean could answer me. Because I just like for me, it's the is it just What is it, 6 and then 8?
What I'm doing is I'm just putting it up against this. And then seeing how close it is.
Are we doing millimeters?
That's our
Oh, that one's 8. I love these and they're also There's one really big one in there.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, tell me, are y'all ready yet?
We were ready.
Okay.
They threw away our measurements yesterday. So we had to remeasure. No, these two threw them away.
After giving somebody a hard time, that's what responded to our changing the timing to the. So that is an independent area. That is your response to it. Tell me what y'all are asking over here.
So we're gonna push
Oh, school you with?
Wasn't Kenny about school well? Yeah, I heard you say charter school this morning.
It's okay.
Well, one of our productive was, and kind of riding things going on. So I think just retired last year, a couple years earlier, got some things going, so I did retire. Got a couple of condominiums that I've been doing that for a while. That's been something. You got 225? Starting at 5, because he's part-time, retired last year.